have to go hard. I have to get good grades. I have to get this degree. Like, I have to just do all this stuff because nobody's here to save me. Like, there's no Prince Charming. Hey you guys, welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, welcome. And if you're an OG, oldie but a goodie, thank you so much for coming back to another video. Okay, you guys, as you can tell by the title, today I have a girl talk for you. We're talking all about hyper independence, how I retired from the hyper independent mindset, and how I got to my new mindset of just allowing, being softer, being more feminine, just being a little more relaxed. And pretty much, you know, what it took for me to get here and just some signs and traits all about hyper independence. We're also going to be doing my hair and makeup. I have somewhere to be today, so I'm going to straighten my hair. I haven't straightened it since I was in Cancun, so we're going to do my hair and my makeup. This is actually my second time filming this video for you guys. I filmed it when I was over in Mexico and I had some issues with exporting the video, so here we are back again, filming again. And I don't even mind. I love this topic so much that I was just so excited to get home, honestly, and like refilm it for you guys. Like, I've been talking about this topic for the last few weeks, like on my Instagram, like little shorts that I did. Like, I feel like you guys have been waiting for this topic. So I rushed home. I got back yesterday, rushed home, and I'm so happy to be sitting here filming for you guys. Okay, but let's get started. I'm gonna do my makeup first and then my hair. Oh, did I bring a Q-tip? Yes. I already did my mascara and bottom liner because I do have to be super close to the mirror for that. So we're gonna move on to the face. For the face, I'm taking this Tarte BB tinted primer. I've been talking about this for a while now. This is kind of what I use for foundation. Oh, before that, I am gonna prime my face. I am back to using primer now, and this is the one that I've been loving. This is the e.l.f. What is it, Power Grip? Yeah, the Power Grip primer. This has been nice for like summer days and stuff, and I really just put it kind of just right here, like in the middle of my face right here. But let's get into it, girls. So what is hyper independence? Let's first of all define what it is, because some of you guys may not even know that you are carrying these traits. You may not even think of yourself as a hyper independent girl. I know for sure I didn't until, and I'll talk a little bit throughout this video. I will be just dropping in like my own personal experiences with it, but I did want to like define it and kind of just talk about the topic. And of course I will be adding like my personal experiences. Okay, so this is all my personal thoughts and views and stuff. You know, this, I don't know if this video will be triggering to some people, because sometimes when you haven't unpacked and like done shadow work and like, you know, figured things out about yourself, it may be triggering. You may think that everything is just fine and dandy, and you may just be okay with being a hyper independent girl. But for me personally, I just love where I'm at now with having a balance between independence and like, you know, surrendering a little bit. Okay, so what is hyper independence? There is definitely such a thing as being independent, and then there's hyper independent. Like, hyper independence is literally what it says. You're hyper independent. You are just too independent. And believe it or not, you guys, that is a thing. Okay, you may be thinking like, what? How is being too independent a bad thing? Well, it can be a bad thing because it can be isolating, right? You can start to push people away, especially people that want to be there for you. You start to see everybody as a threat. And at the end of the day, you just start carrying too much weight that you really just don't have to, okay? You don't have to take on the weight of the world. And sometimes that is what hyper independent women do. Like, they just think that they do not need any kind of help from nobody. And you end up carrying just a lot of weight that over the years and over time, it could just be a lot. Hyper independence can sometimes be rooted in past experiences, right? And this is why I said, you know, doing the shadow work and kind of unpacking some of like the old trauma and stuff is very important when it comes to this, because believe it or not, it can be rooted from past experiences, even all the way down to like our childhood. Like, how did we grow up? Were we seen as like the go-to for everybody? You know, did you have to grow up too fast? Like, there's just a lot of different scenarios on where this can start like stemming from. But yes, hyper independence can go all the way back to our childhood and our past experiences, and that is how we end up becoming these hyper independent women. Now, sometimes hyper independence can be empowering. Now, throughout this video, you're gonna hear me say independence is completely important, right? I don't want people to like take this video and just take it the wrong way and be like, oh, well, I'm just gonna lose my independence and stuff. Like, no, independence is so important. I think everybody should be independent, men, women, whatever you are. Everybody should have some level of their own independence. But yes, when you get into these stages of like hyper independence, it can be empowering. You can feel like, oh, I got it. Like, I don't need anybody to take care of me. Like, it could be like an empowering feeling just knowing like you can take care of yourself. But like I said, it can also be very isolating, because you do get to a point where you start to push people away. You don't want to take help, and you just isolate yourself. You take on the weight of the world and you want to do it all on your own. Hyper independence can also stems from the oldest daughter syndrome, which is another thing that I feel like has been coming out more now. It's like now we're starting to really realize and come to find out like eldest daughters do have a lot of like trauma and just things to unpack and like rewire their brains a little bit. I myself am the oldest daughter, especially like when you come from a non-American household, because there are definitely like expectations. Like, you know, I was the first one to graduate college and like become, you know, a professional, have a high paying job, like be in a career, like the whole thing. I feel like I definitely put like a lot of pressure on myself to just be like this go-to person. Like I was the one making the money in the family. Like, you know, I just put a lot of pressure on myself. So me myself, like I could definitely go back to that and see where some of my hyper independence kind of came rooted from that. Like I feel like I was always taught to have my own, you know, get my degrees, don't depend on no man. Like a lot of these things were taught to me, which isn't bad. I'm not saying these mindsets aren't bad. They're good mindsets to have, but like I said, we're talking about hyper independence. We're talking about when these mindsets become like too much to where, again, you start to isolate and push people away. Okay, I'm just gonna pat out a little bit of this primer slash BB cream. Usually I use my fingers to apply it, but because I don't want to get my fingers dirty because I have like the camera and things like that, I just used a brush. Look at how good that looks. So you can also like put your foundation on top of this. Like I said, this is more of like a primer, just like something to blur your skin out, but I use it alone. I haven't been wearing foundation in the summer. Maybe like in the fall and winter I'll go back to like my foundation routine, but for now this is just doing it for me. Okay, and I also forgot to mention in this video with hyper independence, I'm focusing on hyper independence in relationships, in marriage, and things like that. Now, hyper independence can come and be and show up in so many different areas of your life. It can show up in motherhood if you're a mother. It can show up in your work life. It could show up in your career. It could show up in your business life. It can show up in a lot of different areas of your life. I think the two biggest ones for me were in my relationship life, like in my dating and my relationship life, and in my business life. And this could be a whole separate video that I can do for my business owners, but I used to be such a hyper independent business owner to the point where I wouldn't want to hire help. You know, I definitely had that mindset of I can do it better myself. Like if you've ever caught yourself saying those things, you may have some hyper independent traits. You may have some traits where it's like you don't want anybody else to come into your space because you got it. You got it, okay? And yes, in my business life, it definitely took me a while to like be able to surrender and fall back and actually hire help, right? Hire an assistant, hire staff, like just not take on the weight of my business all on my own. But like I said, this video is focused on relationships and how you can actually just like, you know, just fall back a little bit and let your man take care of you. I want to talk a little bit about like kind of like my journey and how I started to discover when, you know, how I came to find out that I was actually a hyper independent girl. By the way, I'm using the Fenty Pro Filter Concealer. I meant to actually mix it with a little bit of this one. This one I like better, the Fenty, what is it, the We're Even, because this one's a little bit more hydrating. The Pro Filter is just kind of dry. Like I love using hydrating makeup now. Like I don't really like using anything matte. I do like more of my hydrating things. Okay guys, so when I started to realize like I was hyper independent was literally when I got into my current relationship. So I was 28 years old and I was probably at the peak of my hyper independence when I met him. Like I was in my I don't need no man era. I was in just the peak of hyper independence, guys. Like I had moved into my new house, like all on my own. Like I was like, I was definitely like, girl, I got it. Like, what? Don't need no man. I'm just doing all these things out here in life on my own. So yeah, I had moved into my new house. I had my dream career, my dream business, which was my practice, was already like a year old when I met him. Like, yeah, I was just in the peak of my hyper independence, right? And when we started to get serious, like pretty much when we became like boyfriend and girlfriend, you know, number one, I had never dated like a provider man. This was like my first experience dating like a man, like, because there's a difference, y'all. There's a difference between guys and men. I feel like in my past, I was literally just dating guys. Like, there's a difference between guys and like just men, okay? And this was the first time I had a man, a provider man that wanted to just just be a manly man and let me be a girly girl. Like, and if you get it, you get it. If you don't get it right now, like, you just might not get it. But that's the best way that I can describe it. And I feel like there has been a little bit of conversation going around like on social media about like feminine women and masculine men, and like you need a masculine man to put you in your feminine era. And I must say, I agree with all of these conversations. Well, not all, but you know, I do agree with that conversation. And that is facts. You definitely need a masculine man to put you in your most softest feminine era. And this has to do with the hyper-independence, right? Which is leading me into my next point about finding compatible partners. Because this journey of hyper-independence is not going to be easy if you don't have a partner that is going to make it easy for you, okay? Especially, like I said, with this in this area of hyper independence, which is relationships. Obviously, the partner is going to matter in your journey of letting go of the hyper independent traits. So yes, when I first got into my relationship, he caught me in my most hyper independent state, and it was a lot of unlearning. Like I said, you're going to hear me say unlearning, rewiring, and unpacking a lot, because that is literally what it took. Even in therapy, like sometimes in my therapy sessions, you know, I would bring some of these thoughts and mindsets up. And like I said, we had to unpack some things about my, you know, about how I got to be where I'm at and why was I such a hyper independent girl. Like, and, you know, like I said, personally for me, I think it had to do with the past, like, men or guys that I had dated. Like, I never felt comfortable enough to, like, surrender a little bit, to fall back a little bit. I just wasn't dating, like, manly men. So that was definitely something that, you know, we had to kind of work through and unpack, like I said. That was kind of at the start where I was like, oh, wow, like, I'm definitely hyper independent. Okay, I'm just setting everything with the Studio Fix powder, and then I used my Laura Mercier powder underneath the eyes. Oh my god, like the face looks so good even just with that primer. I can't get over it. Okay, let's talk a little bit about society expectations, because I feel like sometimes this is where it gets confusing for women, because there's literally like two sides, right? There is one side, you know, I feel like we definitely always, and you know, when I say society, I'm saying society, social media, just let the noise that is out here regarding like how you should be as a woman. Like there's one side saying, oh, be a boss, like be this independent, fully independent, no need no man, you know, don't need no man, girl boss, like have your own, you know, there's that side of the conversation. And then there's the other side is like, oh, no 50-50, what is it, the freaking 50-50 conversation, like, oh, you are a girl, like, you know, let your man be the whole thing. So there's like two different sides, and I feel like as women it's like, well, where's the balance, you know, especially if you're somebody that is easily influenced by conversations outside. You may probably sit in the middle and be like, okay, well, what do I do? Because should I be this girl boss? Should I be out here like doing my own thing, having my own money? Or should I just fall back and let my man take care of me 100% over here? Like, I'm not touching bills. Like, where should I be? So that can kind of be confusing. And I think the only thing that I have to say to that is do what feels right to you. You know what I'm saying? First of all, no relationship is the same. So you can't really, you know, we can't pull everybody into like one category. You have to do what feels right for you. There's definitely career women out here. And I just think that having a balance of both is probably the best place you can be, which is where I'm at right now. Okay, I still have my business. I'm still an entrepreneur. I still have, you know, I'm still very independent in that way. But yeah, I'm also like over here on this side, you know, getting taken care of, like being a woman, being a girly girl, being feminine, like the whole thing. So I feel like you definitely have to get to a point where you find a good balance for you, just whatever feels right for you. But I did want to touch on that point of like society expectations, because like I said, sometimes it can get confusing, especially if you are on your journey to decipher like your hyper independence. You know, sometimes you have to just cut out the noise and honestly just sit down with your partner and have some of these conversations. Like, what are the expectations? Where do you two feel comfortable? Like, this is just something that you need to sit down with your partner rather than like take all this noise from social media and figure it out like that. Okay, I bronzed a little bit with my Too Faced bronzer. It's been a while since I bronzed, but my body is very tan, so I feel like I need to add a little color into my face. And I'm gonna go in with blush. I'm gonna just use my OG, I think. NARS Orgasm. Like, never goes out of style. The next point in this journey of letting go of your hyper independence is to embrace vulnerability. Guys, this is probably the hardest part, and I feel like this is sometimes where women stay stuck in hyper independence, because it can be so scary. It can be so scary. Opening up and being vulnerable is always scary, right? Especially in relationships. Scary. Scary, because you don't know if you're opening up to the right person. You don't know if these things are gonna come back to haunt you. Like, it's scary, especially at the start of relationships, right? At times, it could even lead to disappointment. I don't know if you guys have ever been in situations where you've said, I can do better myself. I think I kind of said that in the beginning of the video. For me, it was in my business life, but for me, it was also in dating. Sometimes I just couldn't see, or the men that I was dating, I couldn't see the leadership in them. So it was like, I just felt like I couldn't fall back, because I don't know where this man was going to lead me. Like, is he going to lead me to an abyss? Because I felt like I was doing better myself, right? Like, I had my career, I was doing good in life, you know, and it's like sometimes it can just be scary to fall back and allow a man to lead you. Like, that can be very scary, especially if you're not with the right partner. You get what I'm saying? So sometimes women just stay stuck in that hyper independence. I have the control, like I'm doing it all, because you're just afraid maybe of what it's gonna look like if you actually are able to fall back. So I'm just gonna blend the blush out a little. But if you're in that situation, I think that the most important thing here is to be able to trust your partner. And again, this goes back to the previous point on the partner matters, because you know, if you are feeling like you cannot let go of the hyper independence, you're probably not with the right partner that is allowing you to, you know what they say, shut your brain off. Again, it's something that we've kind of been hearing of, like, you know, oh, I just love when I'm like with my boyfriend, I can like shut my brain off. That is actually a nice feeling. And having a person like that, if you don't trust your partner, if you're like, oh, this man is going to lead me into like an abyss or something, you are not going to be able to, like, you know, shut your brain off and just kind of fall back and be led and just allow. Okay, but let's talk about a very, 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 very important point. Is you cannot go on this journey if you are with the person that, number one, does not appreciate and accept an independent woman. Because like I said, we're talking about letting go of your hyper independence. You're not letting go of your independence. You're still going to be a woman that has her own. You're just a full package woman, right? Like, I'm talking about girls that feel me. Full package women. We have our own. We need you, but deep down, we don't. But that's not something that we say out loud anymore. We're not like, I don't need no man. Like, I don't even really say that anymore, right? Because I do need my man. I do need him for certain things. But if if things get rocky and stuff, I will be okay without him. You get what I'm saying? You need to find partners that love and appreciate an independent woman. This part, again, back in my dating life, I feel like I was encountering just like resistance with that, because sometimes a strong independent woman can literally intimidate a man, guys. There's some men that they just don't know how to handle that. They think like, this woman has it all, like own car, own house, own career, own money, own everything. Like, where do I fit into the picture? Like, the men that kind of think that, I just don't really think they're like the masculine men like that, because there's so many ways where like men can just fit in. You know what I'm saying? Like, there's so many things that you can do to help out a woman, even if she has her own this, like, you know, there's still so many areas where you can tap in and be a man to her, you know, like be a leader, be a protector, be a provider, be her safety, be her comfort, be her strength. Like, oh my god, so many different ways. Okay, I'm gonna set this. I've been using my elf this setting spray right here, the dewy power grip. I've been loving like this little combination right here, and this one, the mist is super like fine. You almost can't feel it, so it's gonna look like I'm spraying a lot, but it is like super fine mist. But yeah, I like that this just brings the hydration back into my face. But yeah, again, when it comes to finding a compatible partner, like you want somebody, number one, mutual respect, right? Because you need to respect each other when it comes to independence. You need to respect that he is going to be a provider man. And again, this is something that in the beginning of my relationship, like we were kind of butting heads because it was almost like I wasn't letting him be a man. Like I was so hyper independent to where I was like butting in. Like for example, I guess I'll share this story. Like the first time he ever like sent me money. So basically, like I had gotten my dog Ruby, right? And I think I had her for like a few weeks. And I was at my boyfriend at the time. I was at my fiance's house. I think we were just watching a movie, like a chill, something. When I get an alert on my phone and it was a Zelle transfer for $1,000 from him. And I was like, what is this? And he's like, well, you have like no expenses with like our dog, because we were like boyfriend and girlfriend at the time, so it was like pretty much like we were both gonna be raising this dog. He's like, you have so many like no expenses, like the food and everything, and he's like, I just wanted to like chip in. And I thought that was so weird. I was like, I'm good. Like, I don't need these little $1,000. Like, I'm fine. And I remember like that resistance. Like literally I almost wanted to like transfer it back. I was like, why is he sending me $1,000? Meanwhile, this is my full-blown boyfriend at the time. Like, it's not like we're dating and talking. Like, no, we were boyfriend and girlfriend. Like, we were in a committed relationship. So yeah, I just remember that was so weird. And that was like the first time he ever like wanted to chip in like monetarily, and that was always like a thing for me. Like when it came to finances, it was always like, I'm good, I got it. Like I've always had my own money. I've never, you guys, like asked anybody for money, even my parents. Like I was so hyper independent in that sense to where it's like I wouldn't even accept like help from my parents. Especially after I graduated and like became a nurse, or like when my business really took off in 2018, 2018, where I was making like good money. I just felt like accepting money from people was just like, oh no, I don't need it. Like I should be the one helping people now because I have this kind of money. So that was like the first time. And like I said, that's where the mutual respect is like, I can't be butting in and like not letting him, like that's something that felt good to him, right? Like he felt good. Like I said, this was like for our dog. He's like, well, I want to chip in. He's like, like I want to help you take care of this dog also. Like let me, like this feels good to me. Like I want to know that, I helped with, the food and the expenses or whatever. And I was like, this is so weird. But at the end of the day, like I accepted it. And that was one of like many different little situations where we had to, like I said, I had to rewire my brain and be like, this is okay. Like this is my boyfriend. Like it's okay that I have the money, right? It's like, it's okay. You get what I'm saying? Like, it's fine that I have my own money, but it's okay for me to accept, like, he wants to chip in with this. Like, dang, girl. Yeah, guys, mutual respect, shared values, especially values when it comes to, just so many different things, right? And respecting your independence. How are you guys going to do finances? Like, just all of those things definitely play a role in removing you from the hyper independence. All right, I'm gonna add my lip liner. This is MAC Cork. This is not my favorite, but I am trying to like use it up. I do like a darker brown. Sorry guys, I can't talk and do this. I like my lip lines to be like really neat. Oh my god, I still need to do my hair. Like, what is taking me so long? I feel like I keep pausing to talk and then it's like I go like minutes without doing anything. Like, how have I not started my hair? All right, and then for lipstick, I'm using MAC Blankety. I'm just gonna dab it. Ooh, she's pretty. I'm gonna add a little lip gloss, but I'm gonna do that after I do my hair. Okay, girl, let's talk about boundaries and expectations during your journey of letting go of hyper independence, because this is huge. Again, like I've said probably 3-4 times in this video, when you're on your journey to let go of hyper independence, that does not mean you're letting go of your independence. So there has to be boundaries in this journey. There has to be expectations on, and even conversations on, like, how are you going to maintain independence in this relationship? What feels comfortable to you two guys? Like, like what role is each of you guys going to play? Very, very important to have that conversation with yourself and with your partner. How are you going to maintain independence in your relationship? And I'll just share some of mine. So for me, the ways that I maintain my independence in my relationship is, number one, I still have my own career and I still have my own business and I still have my own money. So that is something that for me is important. And now I do know that there are some women that, once they get you know, maybe get into a committed relationship or get married, etc., they're able to surrender that part. They're able to, you know, for example, like stay-at-home moms, like things like that. Sometimes they're able to surrender that part and they're like, that's fine. I'm going to surrender in this area of my relationship. And maybe they have other ways where they maintain their independence. Now, for me, I love my career, right? I love my career and I love my business. And personally, I do love to make my own money, right? We both make our own money. So that is a way where I like to maintain my independence. I like to have that part of me, you know, my career is part of my identity, right? It's not my whole identity, but it is a part of me. And I worked very hard even before I met him, you know, to achieve these things. And I personally do not want to let go of them just yet. I definitely just want to try it out. I mean, I love having the option. I do love that. Which I do now. Like, I have the option if I wanted to just be a stay-at-home wife. Honestly, I could, but to be honest, girl, I love working. Like I said, I'm a working girl, but I don't know, like whenever, you know, maybe it's something that in the future I want to try and stuff, but having my own money, my own career, that is definitely a way in where I like to maintain my independence. These are definitely things that you want to talk about ahead of time, like what, you know, maybe having your own hobbies, like, you know, your own friends, your own activities that you do. These are all ways on how you can maintain your independence, which, like I said, is very important in the journey of letting go of hyper independence, but you still want to be your own person, right? Sometimes people take it they take it way too far to where they lose their whole identity in a relationship, and that is like a whole different conversation. That is probably more like being hyper dependent, because now you fully depend on this man, and obviously both sides of the equation are not good. We're talking about letting go of the hyper ways, but you still want to have a little independence and a little dependence, okay? Balance in everything is extremely important. I said the boundaries need to be there, because some men, they take it way too far to the point where they want to control their women. And again, that's not good, because now you are losing your independence. Now, like, this man is fully controlling you, and again, that's also not good. So you need to have conversations with your partner. There needs to be a nice, healthy balance, some boundaries set in place, some expectations and things like that on, you know, on how you guys are going to operate in your relationship. Every relationship is different. So for this point, you know, I think this is definitely more of like a private conversation that you need to have and figure out, like I said, what works for you guys. And the last point that I want to leave you guys is embracing the journey. Okay, embracing the journey is going to be so important. If you're single right now, actually, and you're like, well, none of this stuff like relates to me because I'm not in a relationship. Oh, it relates to you, sis. Being single, if you can go on your hyper independence journey, like letting go of that while you're single, this can even help, you know, like this can definitely help for when you do get into a relationship, or it could even help like change the way that you approach dating. Because I remember, like, again, when I was in my hyper independent state and like the way that I would approach dating, like I was just so hyper independent, guys. Like I hated dating. Like I was like, you know, I wasn't like a girly soft girl in my dating life. Like I was just like this go hard career woman. Like, I don't know, like I don't even know how to describe it. And I think it's like sometimes the way that you portray yourself to men also. So this journey of hyper independence, you definitely can get to know yourself better, right? Like figure out what feels comfortable to you. Like maybe ask yourself all those questions, like what is a healthy balance for me? Am I okay with letting my man pay all my bills? Or is that like too much for you? Is that too much for your hyper independent self? Are you okay with the 50-50 conversation? You know, like, are you one of those girls that is okay with that? Is that a way where, you know, you like to embrace some of your independence, is like by sharing expenses and stuff? Like figure out what matters to you. You know what I'm saying? Like you have to, that's like a personal thing. You have to see where you feel comfortable. You know, would you be okay being like a full-blown stay-at-home wife or girlfriend or mom? You know, like, do you want that? Is that something that you think you would enjoy and embrace? Like just letting go of your career life, of your work life, like just kind of surrendering to that and just being at home, like taking care of the household. Is that something where, you know, is that something that you are gonna like, right? So again, ask yourself all these questions. I would probably start journaling and maybe even write a journal entry on what your dream relationship balance looks like. I feel like that would be exciting, right? Because now you get to like manifest and daydream and, really just create the perfect scenario for you. But yes, to kind of wrap it up, guys, I truly wish for all my hyper independent girl bosses to definitely get to a point where, you know, where things just feel good. Like, you know, I feel like we have worked so hard, and these are conversations that I've had with my friends and stuff, guys, when it comes to like relationships and like things like that, because, you know, my friend group, like my circle of friends, like we're probably definitely all hyper independent girl bosses, or were. You know, some of us are like, one of my friends is married now, like, you know, things like that. Like, we're kind of falling back. I know one of my other friends, like, I always remember how she would say, she's like, girl, I'm like a man, like I just go, and like I have literally loved seeing her tap into her feminine energy, and I just love that for her. Like, I love that for us hyper independent women, because we deserve it. Ooh, girl, if it is, you know what, if it is a group of women that deserve softness, it is us. We have worked so hard. We've been the go-to for a long time for a lot of people. You get what I'm saying? Especially, like I said, if you are like the eldest daughter and things like that, like we've been the go-to for a long time, and we deserve to just fall back and be taken care of. Like, I don't know how to describe it, but it is such an amazing feeling. And just to throw it back a little bit, like growing up and stuff, I definitely grew up with like a dad in the household, and my dad was like a provider man. So I can't say that, you know, during my childhood, like I definitely had a very princess-like childhood, in the sense of my dad was always there for us, right? Like, my dad was the go-to for, like, you know, a house full of women. Like, it was like my mom, my sister, and me. So I always had my dad, right? I always had a man present, like, in my growing up. But I think that when I really got into my hyper independent ways was like when I moved out of my parents' house, because at that point I really was on my own. Like, it was like I had my own bills. Like, I definitely felt like the weight of the world, because it was like, okay, I have to go out and get this career. Like, nobody's gonna save me. Like, you know, when you get to this point of life, I have to go hard. I have to get good grades. I have to get this degree. Like, I have to just do all this stuff, because nobody's here to save me. Like, there's no Prince Charming, like, especially right then and there, like in that stage of my life, like my early to mid 20s. It was like, you know, there's no king coming to like take you off your feet and like I don't know how to explain it, like give you this life and stuff. It was like, it was definitely all on me. Okay, I think that that's where I definitely started to get very hyper independent. Like, I had to do it all on my own, you know. And then my fiance came into my life, and it was like I was able to just fall back a little bit and just, I don't know, just be like, he it's just so hard to describe. I hope I'm making sense. Like, I hope that, I don't know, I just don't know how to describe it. I just don't know how to explain it. And I like I said, I don't want people to take this the wrong way and be like, oh well, she's just gonna stop working or something. Like, you know, it's just not like that. It's kind of hard to describe, I think, until you're like in a safe, secure, healthy, and loving relationship. Like, once you're in that, and the women that are in those kind of relationships can like add to the conversation, because it really just comes so natural. Like, this isn't something that you have to actively work for. I think you just kind of fall into it. Like I said, for me, it was like recognizing, number one, that I was hyper independent. And like I said, it was just that beginning stage of my relationship where it was like, oh, this is okay. Like, this is my boyfriend. Like, you're good. Like, you're fine. Like, calm down a little bit, you know, like let him lead, let him take care of you. Like, he wants to do these things. Also, not in a bad way. Like I said, sometimes there's just two sides to the whole equation, right? Because sometimes men want to take control, and that is a whole different story for another day. Again, I'm talking about just having a healthy balance. I hope that the whole video made sense, and it's all about balance. Okay, you guys, everything is all about balance in this scenario here. But yeah, you guys, that is it for this video. I hope you guys enjoyed the conversation. Like I said, for all my hyper independent girl bosses that probably are gonna go into this journey, I wish you the best. And yes, we deserve a nice soft love. Like, that's it, right? A soft love that just lets you be soft, be a woman, be feminine, be just be. I feel like we are ethereal beings. I'm sorry, like, I just love women. Like, I love us women, not like that, but y'all know, like, I freaking love women. I feel like women are just magical. Like, we are literally goddesses. I'm so sorry to the men or whoever doesn't think that way, but I feel like we are freaking ethereal fairies. Like, literally, I was telling my man, like, I forgot what picture it was that I showed him, but it was like, Oh, I don't have it here. It was like this little tiny fairy. Oh, this is what I have, like random little stuff. And I showed him that. I was like, this is me. I'm like, this is me. Like, so talk to me soft, talk to me nice. Like, that's the randomest little picture. But there was another one, and it was like a girl. She was like, it was like this little fairy, and it was like these lights around her, and I'm like, this is us, like this is women, let us be freaking ethereal, like and I love that for us, you guys. And I love just kind of where I'm at. Like I said, it's a good balance. Okay, I'm still out here, you know, I'm still an entrepreneur, I still go crazy in my business and whatever, but like having a man that like allows you to have a balance is so freaking amazing. So I wish I am sending that vibe for everybody. If you are single right now, I hope you enjoy and embrace the journey, and I wish an amazing king comes into your life. And if you are currently in a relationship, then, you know, I hope and pray that you have a beautiful balance, you know, and you're just able to be taken care of, and just like, I mean, just all the amazing things that we have. Okay, healthy relationships are just so beautiful and amazing, and we just deserve it. Okay, we do. Thank you guys so much for watching this video. I hope that you guys enjoyed. I will see you guys in the next girl talk. Let me know in the comment section down below what other topics you guys want to talk about. Y'all know I love doing my makeup, doing my hair, and sitting down and having girl talk with you guys. So hope you guys enjoyed. This was long enough. I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye.